Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome back to Marie's Kitchen. I'm so glad you're here. I have so many new subscribers, new faces, new names, and I'm so glad to see you all. I am loving all your comments and tips, and I do have a request for you today. I would love your input. So today we are making banana oat muffins, and these are probably my family's favorite muffins. They are so simple and sweet. They are gluten-free, and I don't have a great name for them. Banana oat muffin is just not that enticing. So if you have a good name, will you leave it in the comments, and I'm gonna go through the comments and decide what to name these muffins. So leave a name in the comments. I would love to hear from you. So really the main reason we're making these muffins today is because I have a big bunch of browning bananas, and I really think this is kind of the way I got interested in baking in the first place. I remember growing up, whenever we had brown bananas, my mom would always say, Marie, make something, we have brown bananas. Of course, I don't want to throw them away, so I'm always looking for a new way to use up some ripe bananas, and that's what we're going to use today. The first step, we're going to start with 1 1/4 cups of a gluten-free flour blend. And I did have several of you ask for the measurements in grams, so I am also going to add that. That's 178 grams. As far as which gluten-free flour blend to use, I am not picky. I really just use whatever's available. This is a Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 flour blend. Another option is this cup for cup blend, and this is made by the renowned chef Thomas Keller. He uses it in his restaurants. Really any gluten-free flour blend will be fine. And we're also going to use some oat flour in this recipe. And I really love oat flour because it has sort of the flavor of oatmeal, which is a nice kind of subtle, nutty, sweet flavor. So we'll add that in. The 1 cup of oat flour is 90 grams.
Sorry.
No problem.
You filming?
Yeah.
All right, let me just get this off.
Where y'all going?
Stick around the block.
Oh.
Go off.
Next to the dry ingredients, we're going to add 1/2 cup light brown sugar, or 117 grams. And light brown sugar is great. It adds some moisture and is also a little bit acidic, which will help activate the leavening agents we're going to add in a minute. Next step, we're going to add our baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And I do want to thank Jerry for your tip. What a wonderful tip. I always get confused about which one is baking powder and which one is baking soda, because often the canisters look similar. And Jerry suggested write P and a Sharpie on top of the baking powder lid. You can see that. And then write S on top of the baking soda lid, and then you can easily see which one you're grabbing. Now, of course, you want to be sure you don't mix up the lids. So we need 1 teaspoon of the baking powder. You can just see at the lid there. I'm using baking powder. I love that. I love all y'all's tips. I've had so many great tips coming in, and I really do love that. There's our baking soda. Next is 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt. We'll add that in, and then I'm just going to mix these dry ingredients together. I really never sift my dry ingredients. Some people do. I just always like to make things quicker, faster, easier, and less things to clean up, so I just really don't sift. I'm just going to mix that together here with a spatula, and then we'll be adding our wet ingredients. I've got 3/4 cup milk, and that's 6 ounces. We're going to pour that in. Next, I have 1/4 cup, or about 56 grams, of unsalted melted butter. We're just going to add that in. Whenever I melt butter in the microwave, quick tip, I like to do it in a taller jar like this, because butter, when it's in the microwave, it can pop, and if it does, it makes a huge mess in your microwave. So I find that in the taller jar, they tend not to pop as much, and if it does, it kind of catches it. So use a bigger jar for melting butter instead of just a real shallow bowl in your microwave. It works a little better. Okay, next step is 2 eggs, and I did get these out first thing, so they're nice and room temperature as well. There's 1 and 2. Little piece of shell there. You know, the best way to get shell out is to use a piece of the shell. So you scoop it in there, and for some reason it just really can hook on there and get that little piece of shell out, so that's a great tip. Now I'm going to take a fork and whisk my eggs. Just going to go ahead and whisk these first before I add them to the dry ingredients. Now we'll add our eggs in here. Really simple. So I've got 2 very ripe bananas here. Just going to peel these and mash these up in a bowl. And I do want to give you some tips on storing bananas, because again, the reason we're making this banana bread is because I have this huge bunch of browning bananas. So if you want to make your bananas last a little longer, here's a few things you can do. First, when you get your bunch home, this is such a nicely ripened banana bunch, and when I get home and I want them to stay about this ripe, what you can do is take some plastic wrap. This is actually called Press and Seal. It's made by the same company that makes saran wrap, but it's just a little easier to work with, I find. So you can wrap this top with plastic, and that slows down the release of the ethylene gas in the bananas, which is what ripens them. So doing this can really help keep your bananas nice and yellow for a little bit longer. Another thing is you don't want to store your bananas with things like apples or avocados. Those fruits let off a lot of ethylene gas, which is what ripens the bananas. So always store your bananas on their own, kind of gently in a bowl somewhere so they don't get really bruised on the bottom. But those are my main banana tips. If you have any more, leave them in the comments. I always love to hear from you. Now we'll add our bananas to our mixture here, like that. And then 1 teaspoon vanilla. Now we'll give this a stir and bring this together. Because we are using gluten-free flours, you don't have to worry as much about mixing the batter. With all-purpose flours, when you have gluten in the flour, if you mix it a lot, you're going to end up with a tough muffin. So you really want to be very gentle when you're working with gluten in the dough. But there is no gluten in this dough, so you don't have to worry about mixing it. And you actually want to mix it more than usual. You want to aerate it a little bit, add some air. That's going to give these gluten-free muffins more lift. So go ahead and give it a good stir. Whip some air in there. Now for baking these muffins, we do have a few options. You probably have a metal muffin tin like this, which you can use. I would recommend using baking spray or butter to grease the muffin tin, each little cup, or using little cupcake liners type things. So you can use this. Now, what they've come out with more recently, which is really cool, are these silicone muffin cups. And these you don't even need to grease or add the little liners, and the muffins will just pop right out. The problem with this is that it is flexible, and so it's hard to carry to the oven. And so really what you need to do if you have these types of muffin tins is put it on a baking sheet, set it on there, and transport it that way. It's just too floppy to transport with your hands with batter in it and everything. So I do like these, but let me show you my newest favorite muffin tin. This is a silicone muffin tin with a reinforced edge. So you can carry it like this. You don't have to put it on a baking sheet. You can put this right in the oven like that. Love this. I'm going to put a link to it in the description box. So if you make a lot of muffins, I do highly recommend this investment. Okay, so we're using a cookie scoop or ice cream scoop to move our muffin batter over to the silicone muffin tin. And I do want to ask, well, first I want to thank so many of you for leaving such sweet, encouraging comments. I really can't tell you how much that makes my day, and I just love connecting with everyone. It is me that responds to all the comments. It's just me here. Also, if you email me, marie@mariesaba.com, if you have a little bit longer question or need some help with something, you can email me, marie@mariesaba.com, and I am also the one that responds to those. So I love to hear from you. Thank you. Especially thanks to Sue for leaving so many wonderfully nice comments and encouraging comments. Also Kathy, Jerry, Carl, so many of you. So thank you for that. I also want to check in on Genevieve. Genevieve, I think, is in the hospital, and she said she's been watching my show there, and it's kind of keeping her entertained, which is just makes me so happy. So I'm so glad you're watching, Genevieve, and I hope you're feeling better or getting better soon. So now we've got our batter in the muffin cups, and we're going to add a little bit of raw sugar to the top. This is just called Sugar in the Raw. You can find it really at any grocery store, and it's just sort of a kind of a crystal sugar that adds a nice little crunchy golden topping to the top. So I like to add it to my muffins. If you're trying to reduce sugar, of course you can leave it out. You could add a little cinnamon instead, or a little cinnamon and sugar is great too. And then we're gonna bake the muffins at 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until they're nice and golden and a toothpick in the center comes out clean. I've got a timer set for that. So I do want to show you one other way to kind of store your bananas when they get really brown and ripe like this. You can freeze them, and if you're going to freeze them, you do need to peel them first, and then you can use some plastic wrap or aluminum foil and wrap the bananas that way. Or you could put it in a Ziploc bag. And then what I often do is break the banana in half, so then you have two pieces. It's easier to use in smoothies, which is usually what we use this for. And then you can just wrap it like this and pop that in your freezer for a good 6 weeks or so. And then again, we love to use these in smoothies. It's a great way to use up ripe bananas. They're nice and sweet. Another great use for browning bananas are my Better For You brownie bites. I have those in my videos and on my website. You can make it as a loaf or as muffins or as little bite-sized muffins. They are delicious. I also do have banana muffins, chocolate chip muffins, and banana nut bread and banana cake all on my website. So if you have a need to use up your bananas, I have got you covered. Okay, I think the muffins are ready, so we're gonna get them out of the oven. Don't these look delicious? So nice and golden with that little crunchy sugar on top. They look wonderful. I'm gonna grab a toothpick and pop that in the center and make sure it comes out clean. Looks good. So these are done. Can't wait to try a bite of one of these muffins. They are still hot, so I'm gonna have to be careful here, but they just pop right out. It's so easy, nice and steamy. Looks so good. Yum. My kids are gonna love these when they get home from school. Thanks so much for joining us on Marie's Kitchen. Today we made these easy and delicious banana and oat flour muffins in this really cool new silicone reinforced muffin tin. I'm going to put the link to this in the description, so if you'd like to check it out, go there. I'll also have the recipe in the description box as well as on my website, mariesaba.com. You can also email me, marie@mariesaba.com, if you have any questions or need help finding a recipe, or sometimes if the download and print button isn't working, let me know. I will get it worked out. Sometimes it takes me a little while because it is just me with the website and the recipes and the filming and everything, so sometimes it takes me a little while, and I appreciate your patience. If you haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe. It means so much to me and also to YouTube. That's how I decide if I'm a good channel and if my videos are worth sharing. So take a minute, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and the bell button for notifications. And that way you'll find out each time I post a new video, you'll get a notification, so you'll be sure not to miss it. Again, thank you so much for your comments, especially Carl, Mary, Molly, Glenda, Vicky, Dana. I hope the gluten-free muffins are good for your mother. Thought she might like them, and I am working on the gluten-free pie crust for her. It's just taking me a little while to get it right. Also, Jackie, Tanya, Mrs. TJ from Missouri, thank you for watching. Thank you for your sweet encouragement. I'm just so blessed to have y'all as viewers and friends. Also, again, Genevieve, I hope you are feeling better, and if you're in the hospital, hope you can enjoy a few more of these videos as well. Thanks again for joining us. My goal is always to give you some easy recipes that turn out great every time, so you can build some confidence in the kitchen and feel really inspired to share good food with people that you love. From my kitchen to yours, thank you.
Was a good girl. Cocoa Puff was a good girl. Yes, she is.